What is gynocentrism?
Gynocentrism is a term that describes the tendency to place the female or feminine viewpoint and experience at the center of a society or culture. It is a form of essentialism, which means it assumes that women and men have innate and fixed characteristics that determine their behavior and roles. An example of gynocentrism in Western societies is the practice of baby showers.
Okay, so the practice of baby showers. It seems to me like we're already practicing a great deal of this gynocentrism or gynocentrism. I've heard it pronounced both ways, in a lot of different ways in society, especially whenever it comes to like the idea of romanticism. Romanticism is generally the man doing romantic gestures for the female. I think like wedding proposals and weddings themselves, they seem to be all based around the woman and the man doing something, some sort of romantic gesture for the woman. Marriage proposals are typically a man getting down on one knee and giving a gift to the woman. The wedding itself is just a huge ceremony all about the woman. You know, it's her day, which is kind of something that really bothers me about like big weddings, and it's one of the reasons why I don't think I could ever have one. I mean, I really don't think I could ever have a wedding in general, but for sure not a big wedding. The whole idea of a big wedding is just, it seems incredibly emasculating for the man. It's almost like, it seems like that bride is just like putting on display, you know, that man that she got, like, look, I got somebody to take me in and love me even after, you know, I've done had multiple kids with multiple baby daddies. I've done been through a hoe phase. I've got all this trauma. I've got all this baggage. Somebody still loves me. Somebody still takes me in. You know what I mean? It's like after I've done been ran through by so many fuckboys, you know what I mean? Look how much somebody still loves me and cherishes me, and look how much they'll do for me. Just look at this place. Look at this venue. Look at all these nice pretty flowers, these high dollar dresses. This ring that he gave me is supposed to be, nowadays I think the ring is supposed to, like, it's like standard, it seems like, for the ring to be worth 3 months of the man's salary. What the fuck? Just the whole idea is just completely fucking ridiculous and something I couldn't jump on board with. So yeah, I think we're already living in a culture based around this vaginocentrism, if you want to call it. This gynocentrism. Might as well be called vaginocentrism. Another thing that really comes to mind is the fact that you can't really be honest with women. You can't be brutally honest with women. We've developed a whole culture around, we just make excuses for women and we never hold them accountable for any of their wrongdoings. You know, we just give them one excuse right after another. And it's to the detriment of the women. They're the ones out there that are continuing to make the terrible choices, fucking ruining their lives. And then they go through making these terrible choices, getting in these toxic relationships with these toxic fucking men and having their babies, and then the man don't take care of their babies. The list goes on. I mean, that's just a couple things. I mean, the list goes on forever. And you can't really call them out for their bullshit. They would be completely offended. They'll get overly emotional. They'll be completely offended. They're not used to it. They're not used to somebody just being honest with them. They can't handle somebody giving them a little bit of shit, giving them a little bit of criticism. They can't handle it. They're not built for it. But of course, we made them that way. We built this culture of feminism and vaginocentrism. You can't call women out on their fucking bullshit. But you can call men out on their bullshit all day. We can publicly bash men. You can literally step outside right now and scream out, all men are trash, and you'll hear nothing. You step outside and you say all women are trash, these bitches will come fucking tackle you, bro. They might even throw you in jail. That shit might even be illegal. You can't do that. That's hate. That's bigotry. It's just labeled completely wrong. It's just looked at completely different.
How long have you been doing this?
Since 1993.
Wow.
Actually, that was the year that Warren Farrell's Myth of Male Power came up, and reading that sort of...
How long have you been doing this?
Since 1993.
Wow.
Actually, that was the year that Warren Farrell's Myth of Male Power came up, and reading that sort of turned my life around, and I've been doing this ever since.
Mm. And was there like a moment that red pilled you? Like, how did you get into the space?
Well, the book played a role in red pilling me, but what happened after that, I worked in a residential treatment facility, and I came into work after reading that book. In one of our staff meetings, I asked everybody why we were assessing every woman that came into our facility for whether or not she'd been a victim of domestic violence. And we were assessing all the men who came into our facility for whether or not they've been perpetrators of domestic violence. And we weren't asking women whether they were perpetrators or men whether they were victims.
Wait, what type of facility was it?
Substance abuse treatment.
Oh, and so they would automatically ask the women if they were victims and ask
Yes.
the men if they were Is that because of the Duluth model, right?
That was the Duluth model, and
Yeah.
it also goes back to just sugar and spice narrative about women, and men are bad, women are good narrative that's been around at least as long as Duluth or longer.
See, so this is nothing new. This has literally been around for hundreds, maybe thousands of years. I don't know. I know the past several generations, it's been pretty well normalized. And he's right. The whole sugar and spice and everything nice narrative. Look, I promise you, women are not just sugar and spice and everything nice. Now, I'm not just giving men an automatic pass. I mean, men can be really fucked up. But the thing is, we absolutely can call men out on their bullshit, and it is perfectly acceptable. And we do. And we should. But why can't we call women out on their fucking bullshit?
But when I asked about it, I got hostility. I mean, there was outrage among my peers for even asking the question. And my first thought was, I think I'm over some kind of target here. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm going to find out. And I've been finding out ever since.
And so did you end up like leaving the facility or
Yes.
how did that
I ended
play
up
out?
leaving the field.
Oh, wow.
And doing my own thing. I just couldn't take it anymore.
So also, another perfect example. He asked this simple question: how come we're not asking men if they've been victims of this kind of abuse, but we're only asking women this, but we are asking men if they've been perpetrators of this kind of abuse, but we're not asking the women that. You can't do that. And just like he said, the people that he asked this question to, they responded with complete outrage. You can't do that, big dog. You can't ask questions like that. It's not accepted in our culture.
Or because there was a lot more problems than that, and some problems not even gender related. The recidivism rates and chemical dependency treatment are abysmal, and lots of other reasons to leave. But my interest in men's issues took me into counseling men, and that's what I've been doing.
And what would you say are the common problems that men come to you with?
They've been screwed over by women for the most part. I mean,
Surprise,
I'm not
surprise.
casting dispersions here, but of the men I talk to, 98% of them, whatever life circumstances they're dealing with at the time, go back to decisions that they've made regarding women, getting married to the wrong women, getting the wrong woman pregnant, getting in a relationship with somebody who'll make false allegations, all these things, and not screening women. It goes back to that.
Been there,
But
done
they're
that.
drinking, they're drugging, they're depression, they're
many
suicidal
times.
ideation, they're all kinds of life problems. When we talk long enough, we get back to the women in their lives and what they were expecting. Guys think, I'm going to meet a girl and fall in love, and she's going to love me back, and we're going to go off happily ever after into the sunset. And then they find out that it doesn't really work that way.
Holy shit. So that's just like what I was talking about. Romanticism. Men are the romantic gender. I've said this so many fucking times because this is so clear to me. Women are not romantic. They like romanticism. They like being loved. Everybody likes being loved. But men have this idea, especially the younger, more naive men, or men that just hasn't had enough experiences with women. Many men still have this fairy tale romantic idea of just finding their ideal woman and just fucking, riding off into the sunset, living happily ever after. And it just don't fucking work that way. And it typically don't fucking work that way because that woman was never actually romantic to begin with. She appreciates love. She wants somebody to love her. But a lot of times, she wants somebody to love her so she can get resources, so she can extract resources from that person. Something that I find interesting about women is that they typically want to find like a simpy type of dude. Loves her and she can fucking have control over him and then she can extract certain resources from him. But she still wants to get dicked down by a fuckboy on the other hand. Some dude that's never going to be romantic. Some dude that's never going to let a female control him. So she just wants that dude for his body, basically.
It's devastating for them.
And you found that even men that are struggling with substance abuse, it's mostly women too.
Well, absolutely. I mean, a lot of guys drink over bad marriages.
Right.
They're miserable. They don't know what to do. They have children. If they get a divorce, they're worried about, sometimes the wife is abusive and the man won't leave because they don't want to leave the children
Right.
with an abusive mother. And they already know the courts are going to give her custody.
Right.
So they stay and they drink or they drug or they engage in other risky behaviors or have affairs. Eventually they blow up and slap her or something like that. And then that sets problems into motions.
And do you think this starts
That's an incredibly relevant thing right there, what he just said. And a lot of times, I think when you have this kind of female that you're dealing with this kind of hostility, I think a lot of times the woman really wants you to fucking put your hands on her. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing is, like, she already despises you so much. She just needs like a little something more to really make you the bad guy. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter how bad she's been up to this point. If she can push you to the point, if she can get up in your face and do whatever it fucking takes, even put her hands on you. If you fucking snap and put your hands on her, oh man, she can't wait to get to the phone. And she'll call the fucking police on you, and they will come out there and they will fucking haul your ass off and not ask any fucking questions. And your life will be completely destroyed after that. I mean, this happens all the time.
Arts for men from childhood, like, where do you think this comes from? This, because we were talking about it earlier, just the simping, like they just want to appease women all of the time.
Well, look at your average family, or people from my generation grew up in homes where it was an edict, you better make your mother happy.
Right.
If mother complains to father, you're in trouble, sometimes really abusive trouble. So it starts in early childhood, where father's off at work, they're left with the mother at home, they learn to please mom, they get manipulated, the child manipulates back, pleasing the mom, anything to make her smile, and that sets a behavioral pattern that they take into relationships. They go into their first year of school, it's all women.
Right.
And there it is. There's your gynocentrism. We literally build our whole environment around whatever keeps the women happy. That's why you hear terms like happy wife, happy life. You don't hear nothing about happy husband, happy marriage. I mean, I can't think of a rhyme that rhymes with husband, but there is no fucking phrase like that. We're not really programmed to even think like that. We're not even programmed to think about keeping the husband happy, so therefore the family can be happy and healthy and stable. So the marriage can work, so the kids can grow up to be happy, healthy, productive members of society.
Have to please the teachers. Their lives are shaped by women for the first 18 to 20 years in almost all cases. And the men learn early to please women. That's where your mindset is at. It carries into your relationships, and it ends up making men very miserable.
So we've talked about it before, but just for the audience, what is gynocentrism?
Good question. It's on paper, gynocentrism is just a system of beliefs and attitudes and rules that focus on the well-being of women over the well-being of men. Our attention and energy is focused on making women happy, keeping them safe, giving them what they want. It goes back, at least 1,000 years to the advent of romantic chivalry, which is a big part of modern gynocentrism. Gynocentrism itself historically wasn't such a bad thing. If women weren't alive to have children, right. Yeah. We would have been in trouble, and they had to be able to protect children and nurture them and get them to where they were self-sufficient. So there was a certain amount of gynocentrism was absolutely an imperative for the human species.
And I agree with that. That's also why I say that there is an aspect of feminism, even though I'm clearly, according to the feminism this day and age, highly against feminism. But the thing is, and I've said this in previous videos, I understand back when feminism first came about, there was like a need for women to gain more of a voice. I think there were back then I think it was a lot more normal for husbands to take their wives for granted. And the thing is, like, back in the day, we actually used to have good wives. It's not like it is today. Once upon a time, you had a wife that was really holding it down and fucking rocking shit at the house. And then dudes would just, take that for granted. And men do this. Men get lazy, men get complacent, and men do take women for granted. And I don't believe that that's a good thing. We should absolutely be talking about that, making sure that doesn't happen. I mean, I've spoken on that many a times. But yes, that's why I do say feminism, to an extent, once upon a time, had a purpose. It did. But now it's become completely corrupted. Look, I'm gonna be straight up with you. If you're a feminist in 2024, you can suck my fucking dick. And I stand on that shit.
But once romantic chivalry hit the mainstream throughout Europe and then eventually in the West, it was more than keeping women alive. It was about keeping that smile on their face all the time. And if we fail, then there's a problem. And that's what led to a lot of simping.
Well, that's
Keeping women happy all the time. That's what we've done. That's the culture that we've kind of created. Obviously, you know, somebody's going to see this and they're going to, well, men don't just keep women happy all the time. No, I understand. They don't. But the thing is, if they don't, that's a problem. If they don't, that motherfucker ain't no good. If they don't, you have to give him shit or you have to just fucking leave him. The thing is, that is the standard in which you are accepting and requiring. Just being happy all the time.
because that's kind of a new concept to me. You guys think that romantic shit, like romantic love, and I'm a little bit undecided on it.
Okay.
So I want you to convince me. Like, why is romantic love such a bad thing?
Because it puts unrealistic expectations
Okay.
on a relationship. Romance is about whining and dining. It's
Right.
about, and let's be honest, romance is about making women happy. There's nothing in the romantic model that says a man has to be happy at all.
Yeah.
The romantic model says a man has to produce. He has to produce jewels. He has to produce nice things.
Right. There's no like, does she cook him dinner? It's
Well,
always, yeah.
There's some of that, but it's always sort of like, you know, a millionaire gets a wife who takes a part-time job in a dress shop. It's just, here's my $200 to contribute
Right.
to the 10 million you have in the bank. But back to the romantic thing, look at the model of how proposals go in the West. Everybody has that image of their mind of a man down on his knee, bearing a gift, jewelry that's supposed to represent 3 months of his salary. It's all set up. It's all arranged in advance. That's romance. Romance is laying rose petals at her feet. Romance is talking to her.
Worshipping women.
It is a worship thing.
Yeah.
Now,
Men
gee,
do all
what
that
could go
shit.
wrong there long term? If you start a relationship with that kind of unrealistic expectation, that only thing that matters is elevating her.
And
The
that's
only
why,
thing that matters
and
is
that's
her
why you get these
happiness.
women saying they fell out of love.
Absolutely.
Because they came in with the expectation of
Boom.
romantic love.
Bingo.
And women are particularly romantic. There's another little flaw in that system too. Men are.
Yeah.
Men are the romantic ones. I work with couples. I work with men post-divorce. It's always the men that are devastated by the broken heart. I mean, I see it affects women too, no doubt. But for most guys that I work with, by the time the divorce rolls around, she's doing well. Got a new boyfriend.
Right.
Probably had one before they ever broke up.
Yeah.
She monkey branched right out of it. And women tend to do their grieving while they're in the relationship.
Women typically can recover faster, especially if they still have any youth to them left at all, or any physical attraction. Like you said, she probably already had somebody. Even if she didn't actually have a boyfriend on the side, when she wasn't like currently having an affair and cheating on her husband or the man she was in a relationship with. And I have come to realize this with experience. Okay? Women usually always have somebody on the back burner, if not multiple people. And a lot of times she barely ever really engages with them. It might be just a little something, because a lot of these fucking dudes, these bitch ass dudes, they'll just take fucking breadcrumbs. They'll just take fucking breadcrumbs. They'll sit on your friends list on social media and just always be kind of hoping for something, hoping for a chance, hoping for a chink in the armor to get in and fucking see what's going on. And if a woman goes through a breakup, she don't want to be sitting around hurt and alone and miserable for no extended period of time. She doesn't have to. She'll just fucking hit up home dude and be like, hey, what are you up to? And that motherfucker, he might be up to open heart surgery. And she'll be like, you want to hang out? He'll be like, yeah, fuck this dude. I'm out.
And then they're done. And then a guy is like, oh, it's over now. Then he starts
And
grieving.
you know what's crazy? Men will still talk highly about a wife that absolutely fucked them. Excuse my language, but like a guy will have been taken through the ringer of like divorce court, alimony, and they'll still find something positive to say about her. Where women could have a good guy.
I used to fucking do this. I literally used to fucking do this about my ex-wife. After living and learning and realizing just how bad she fucked me, I used to do this shit. Used to just give her too much credit. But I was also one of those guys that fucking was like madly in love with her for a long time, even after she fucking left me. Just like so many men are. Then I look back now, after knowing what I know now, having the information and the knowledge that I have now, I look back and I'm like, how could I have ever loved her? I would never. The standards that I have now, I could never be with someone like that. It would never fucking happen.
Guy, and they'll absolutely trash him.
It's a lot worse than that in my experience. I worked with a guy once that had been divorced for 8 years, and he was still acting like a puppy trying to be let into his ex-wife's life. And I've seen that happen over and over and over again. It's almost like they can't divorce.
Yeah.
Guys she'll have sex with one of his friends and then call him a week later and say, I need you to help me move. And he'll show up.
Damn. Don't be that fucking guy, okay? Don't be that fucking guy. Oh, man. But yeah, the thing though with after divorce, like he said, he's seen it over and over and over again. So many men. I did the same shit. After gaining so much experience and dating so many other women and really learning more about their nature, opening myself up to some of this information like this right here and considering a different perspective. And now I'm kind of like, I look back, I could never be in a relationship with some of these females that I've been in a relationship with. The shit that I fucking put up with, the shit that I dealt with, I could never fucking deal with that shit again. Look, y'all, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. Brand new channel, 0 subscribers. Engaging with comments really helps a lot in the algorithm. I know this is actually a pretty deep subject, and I know it probably challenges a lot of people's way of thinking. So if you have input about it, even if you disagree, that's fine. Leave a comment. Even if it's not a particularly positive comment, look, I can handle it. If you think that there's somebody that could gain any value from this video or this type of content, give it a share. Send it to them. Any engagement helps. I appreciate the support, y'all.